Hello, everyone. My name is Ishmael Ewing, and today I'll be presenting my project, about Food Inc. and global junk food. So first I'll be covering Food Inc. And basically, this is a documentary that was released in 2009, and it was directed by Robert Kenner, who has prior experience before making this film, talking about like the social and environmental issues, happening during the time. And this is a really good film. Like it won several awards and was nominated for several awards, including I believe it was like the Academy Awards. So it's a really good film, and yeah, I learned a lot from it. But basically, this film, it basically talks about like how the American food industry is very, it tends to hide things from the public, and how it treats its workers and the consumers, and basically, and how they go about their business is very, very shady. So this documentary kind of explores that and talks about it a lot. And they have various sources to explain why this is, through interviews and stuff, and actual live videos and evidence showing these companies and stuff making claims about several things, and lawsuits and stuff. There's a lot of things that go into this documentary. So they divide it into 8 chapters because it's pretty long. It's not long. It's not really long, but it's an hour and 30 some minutes. So it's decent length. But yeah, first the chapter speaks about how the food industry, for processing meat, how it evolved from being the small scale thing that was very meticulous to having grown to this giant mechanized company. There's factories all over the world that process meat, slaughterhouses. They put chemicals to it. It's a lot more, is bigger. But with it being grown to such a large length, they cut corners, and they treat their animals not like animals, but like products. For instance, with they describe chickens as being injected with these chemicals and grown to unnatural lengths, and they put them in this tiny confined space where it's hard for them to actually move. So basically, this chapter talks about how the meat industry, how it grew, and why it's not really ethical anymore, and how fast food heavily influences it. I believe they said in McDonald's they bought the meat mainly goes to them. That's basically what they said. And for the second chapter, it talks about corn, and how corn, the same way meat, how it grew into this giant hot gold mine, because corn can be used for many different products like batteries, cornstarch, which is extremely they use that in everything. So corn it just is very versatile, and the reason why you see it in every product is because it's I said, it's very malleable, and it's very cheap to grow and use. There's always an abundance of corn, so they use that in everything. And the third chapter talks about how there's contaminations of food sometimes. Back then, this was released in 2009. There's a lot of issues happening with E. coli, especially, which is a bacteria that is present in meat and stuff, and the intestines. And yeah, and it ties back to the second chapter, because they feed these cows and animals corn, which rises the level of E. coli in the gut. So when you go to slaughter the cow or the whatever animal, it's a higher trace of higher percentage of E. coli getting mixed in there. So that there's a case of a kid they mentioned the film of a kid had a burger that had E. coli in it, because the companies didn't clean it properly, and like he ended up dying. And now there's like a law being pushed, trying to like, make that better, at least at the time. So it's like very like sad, how it happened. It's like if they just like stopped cutting corners and people wouldn't have been dead or dying. And speaking of that, the dollar menu basically talks about how like foods, like fast food, processed foods, like Tyson, like the processed meats and stuff, how they are cheaply made, and because they're cheaply made, they result in bad health. And the dollar menu is, it explains like why like fast food is so cheap, because it's so cheaply made, but it's also really unhealthy. So families that don't really have like a lot, like they're low income, they see that's like the only way like to eat, so like that's what they choose, and therefore it ends up with them having like higher cholesterol and diabetes and things like that. And they talk about like a certain family, how they know that their father, like he has diabetes, but they can't really do anything about it because the cost of actually eating good is very high. So they cover that, and like it's very unfortunate because and the 5th chapter, In the Grass, talks about like small scale farming versus like the large industrial farming. And they start off by showing like how like there's this farm that's like very, it's very small, but it's very clear what you can see. Like it's not like a giant factory, billowing smoke. Like it's very like how you would picture a farm. And they go and slaughter their own animals like cleanly, and they take care of them, and you can see the chickens like free roaming and all that, and like the animals are actually out eating grass and stuff instead of corn. And they cut to like the industrial farm where they have like these large slaughterhouses and stuff, and how it's just disgusting and there's blood everywhere. It seems very, very frightening. And the film, like the chapter also mentions how like the workers who work in these, corporations, they don't really get treated properly. Most of the workers that work in these like corporations and factories and companies, like they are immigrants, or like they're people of color who don't get treated properly because they're and it's like it was very sad. Like they would come in, like immigration officers would come in and bust people's houses and arrest them, like when they're just like trying to take care of their family. Like it's just messed up. And it happens like all, like not just in America, but it happens all over the world too. Hidden costs, like it basically talks about, like the economics of like food and stuff, and how, like how like small corporations will be bought by large corporations, and like they go about it like very briefly, but they speak about it. Like there was like this yogurt company, like it was like pretty small, that was bought by Kroger. And they don't get like any return from it, like that they just basically just took their product and like just sold it as their own. So it's just messed up. Or no, it was Walmart. Excuse me, Walmart. They took their yogurt and like they sold it off without giving them any mentions or anything. Without like it's messed up. And the Veal talks about, From Seed to Supermarket talks about like the soybeans and Monsanto, thing, which is very like this. It's probably like the most like eye-opening chapter, because it talks about like how Monsanto won't allow anything else but genetically modified soybeans to be planted in their presence, and if you do, then you'll get arrested or questioned, and you'll have to like retire as a farmer. Like it's very frightening. And the Veal talks about, actual reason why most people don't know about this stuff is because these corporations will slightly like try and like not include things in the nutrition label. If you see like on the back of like a box of food or something you see in the supermarket, like they'll try and hide it and make sure that it's very hard to see. Like for instance, like if you were like to go like in a Kroger or something and pick up like some cereal, you wouldn't. They have to tell you that it's like GMO, but they'll try and put it like extremely small so you can barely notice it. therefore making you buy the product without you knowing, where it's from. So yeah, it's gotten a little bit better now. I think Trump like actually tried to like bring it back, but I don't. It's very like it's messed up how they try to like treat like trick people into buying their product even if they like don't even know where it's from. And the last system basically just talks about, like other issues that, are caused by the food industry in America. And yeah, it basically just like, talks about like how America can get better with a food company and like how it can introduce more organic materials and more localized stuff. And how the customers can, recognize this thing happening and like, speak on it. But yeah, like this documentary is very good. I learned like a lot. It's very educational. Most people did it. So it's like, yeah, it's very good. But yeah, it's like, yeah. So the next thing I did was called Global Junk Food, which basically, unlike Food Inc., it covers most of the thing. It's outside of America. So they talk about 3 countries in particular, which is France, India, and Brazil. And they talk about like the injustices when it comes to like, fast food and processed foods and the stuff that these companies will do. So, let me just get into it. So, sorry. Oh. So Global Junk Food. Yeah, for India, the fast food like restaurants in India, like they contain like so many, like they have so many fats, sugars, and stuff, that would, raise your cholesterol. Like it's just, they put so much into like these foods, and like the ingredients are like really cheap and disgusting looking. Like it's gross, and the people don't really recognize it. It's like they like same in America. Like they either can't afford to eat something better, or like they just have no idea what's going on. So it's very gross. There's like an example that I have like a picture of where he opens like a pizza, and instead of it being cheese, it's like this cream like substance that's like easy to like. It's not like melted cheese, but it's like cream, and it's very disturbing to look at. In France, food companies try to use like mobile games and like things like to target like little kids into buying their product. So like they would have like this game or something and like a McDonald's type of thing, and like the kids would be playing it and not realize it's an ad. And the companies use like psychological tricks. So like for instance, like say they're playing like a game, their brand would be like I don't know, like something like to get points or something. Like it would basically be good in the game, like their brand. And they would try and condition kids into thinking that, yeah, the brand equals good. And it's not good. Like it's horrible how they're trying to like manipulate kids like that. And it was outlawed in France, but they try to like still enable it by saying like, yeah, it's for teens actually, which is not the case, because like you'll see. But yeah, and this isn't allowed in the U.S. at all. Like subtly like use ads to promote products, like that's not really used here at all. And Brazil is like a mixture of the 2 countries. It's like, yeah, junk food is pretty like big in Brazil, like because I use like imagery and stuff, like soccer, like the beach and this thing called favelas, which are I should have a picture of it, but they convince people to buy it, and kids will get addicted to it, and it's very messed up. It's like the same problem that happens in the U.S. where people will have like these like sugary stuff, like sugary drinks and sugary products, and they'll buy it because it tastes good, it feels good, and this is very messed up. Like certain brands will act as like sponsors for school, like events, and like little like play, like not plays, but like like games and stuff. Where they'll come and like sponsor like an event and like try and get the kids to like buy like Pepsi or something, or go to like fast food. And they won't even like have like a mention of like the logo, to avoid getting scrutinized by like the government or whatever. Like they'll try and hide it, but still try and go out and do it, and convince kids to buy these, or to ask their parents to buy this stuff for them. And it's very unfortunate because, like, once again, they're trying to manipulate kids to do stuff by taking it, like, because kids are, the kids, like, they easily influenceable, so they'd see that and try and take advantage of that, which is not cool. And right here are, like, some pictures that show the things from this documentary, like global junk food. So if you look up on the top left, you see like like two like sets of chickens. Like the one on the left is like the chicken in France, and which is like 7 grams of fat. But the one on the right is like the one in India, and these are like the same amounts of chicken, just because the angle like looks kind of weird. But like these are like the same amounts, but the chicken in India is more than double like the fat in like France. Like, and like there's more examples where they show like sugar and stuff with different food products and stuff. And yeah, it's just messed up. Like they will pump so much like sodium and fats into the food to make it taste better, and so it can appeal to like people more. So on the right, like top column, like that's the thing in Brazil that I talked about, where it's like they'll have like little events or whatever for the children to participate in, and that's clearly Ronald McDonald the Clown with like with McDonald's, like he's like the icon, but you can see like he doesn't have like a logo like where the red spot is on his chest. Normally it would be like a McDonald's logo, but they took it off so they won't be I guess like targeted for like you can't accurately say that it's like them trying to market to kids directly without them having a look. That's what their plan is. And it's pretty messed up. And the one below that with the text, that's in France, and they talk about like how like the people who run like this, who are doing like the documentary, went and questioned like these companies and asked them why they're like trying to appeal to kids through like these games and stuff. And like the companies are responding by saying, yeah, these aren't meant for like little kids, meant for like teenagers and stuff, people like above like the age of like 13 and 15, like. But it's clearly like if you see like the picture right there of like the cell phone, like I know I'm skipping, but like if you see the picture of like the cell phone right there, it's clearly like a coloring book thing for children. Like any child would play with that. Like it's like teenagers don't typically do that type of thing. But yeah, it's pretty messed up, like how they'll try and like manipulate kids and like the masses, like thinking like like basically just trying to misdirect them. But yeah, so the slide with the picture of the pizza, basically that's in India, and you can see like this is like a regular like piece of like a pizza, and it's not like stuffed crust or anything. It's not anything special. It's just pizza. But he opens up the pizza and the cheese it looks like that, and he scoops out with his finger, and you can see it like it's clear. It's like some type of like cream type substance. It is very, very disgusting and eye opening, because that could be going on in the States and we haven't like checked yet. And yeah, this is like Domino's pizza, by the way. But yeah, he opens it up and like he shows like how greasy it is too, and like how just nasty. And he also mentioned, because this is like the dude like who's holding it, he mentions that he used to work at Domino's and he wanted to use like organic materials, but they wouldn't allow it because like it's not cost effective, and like they wouldn't be as like appealing, I guess. It wouldn't like but yeah. And the one on the right, like the far bottom right, is this thing called like a big spicy like sandwich from like McDonald's, and like this kind of like a mix of like the advertising and like, and this is like in India, by the way, but like it's like trying to advertise that this product is like really like healthy, right? It's like one of the healthy like things on the menu, alternatives, but it's just apparently it has like the highest like fat, salt, and like sugar like conglomerate like on the menu. So yeah, once again, it's messed up how they try and market this stuff to people who aren't aware, and they buy it and like thinking like it's healthy or anything, and they keep buying it, because it's loaded with so much fat and stuff. It tastes good, sodium. So yeah, this is messed up. And this picture right here is like a favela, and they'll put this like on the brands of like Brazilian like products and stuff to like appeal the children, like people who buy these products, because like it's Brazilian like scenery. It's like, I guess like I could compare it to like a rap snacks, like how it could have like appealed to like like teenagers and stuff, like who listen like rap music and stuff. Because like it does, like it's pretty dope to see, but like at the same time, like there's a lot of sodium and stuff like that. So yeah, I believe like my favorite documentary is probably this one, because like it talks about like other stuff happening like outside of like the United States, and you get like this eye-opening experience of like what else is happening, because like you wouldn't expect like India to like be like this like place where they have like a bunch of fast food, and it's like heavily soda, like it has like a lot of sodium in it and salt. Like it's very like eye-opening, because like you think like India would be more plant-based and natural, with their food and stuff, but it's like it's pretty interesting, and they still could be, you know what I'm saying. And yeah, the same with like France and like Brazil, like this is pretty crazy. But yeah, and for fooding, I think my favorite part would probably be like the first chapter, because like it lets you know like what's happening like straight up. But yeah, this is like my documentary. Thank you.